All right, so we're going over the DOM manipulation or DOM manipulation. And once again, I used a lot of examples from the W3 school stuff, but it's pretty simple. Basically, what it is DOM stands for Document Object Model, and so all it is when you load a page in your browser, it creates a model of the different elements on that page. And with the DOM manipulation, you're able to use JavaScript to manipulate those elements. So you can change the elements or the attributes. You can change the styling of your CSS. You can add new elements, remove elements. You can reuse elements on certain parts of your page. So it's kind of a way of saving code and being able to make your code reusable. And it also allows you to make your pages a lot more dynamic. But we'll go over some examples here. So the first example I have is just finding HTML elements. And there's a couple examples here. You guys are probably already familiar with these, but when the little experience I have with JavaScript so far, I've been using the document.getElementById, and what that's doing is it's saying, okay, get this element, and here's the name of that element by its ID or class or whatever. And what that allows it to do is it points to that element, and then it enables you to do something with it in your code. So, for example, here we've got a simple little HTML document. We've got a P tag with an ID of intro that says "Hello World," and down here in the script, it's saying, "Okay, we're making a variable called myElement," and what it's going to do is it's going to use, okay, document.getElementById, and it's pointing to intro, which was used up here. And now when on this third line on the right, you can see the text from the intro paragraph is "Hello World," and the script is just concatenating that string with the myElement.innerHTML. So it's using that same HTML element up there and adding it onto this string. So pretty simple. Any questions so far? Okay, cool. Next examples I have are changing HTML elements. And so this allows you to do things like element.innerHTML equals new, whatever your code is for that new HTML content. So you can change the HTML. You can change an attribute. You can change the styling. This allows you to do a lot of cool things with that. And so, as an example here, I've got this little. This is from W3 Schools, but it's got this H1 tag, and then on click equals change text this. So it's this function down here, change text, and this is the parameter. So this object right here, the id.innerHTML equals oops. So when you click on this, it changes it to oops, just like that, boom. So that's another little example of what you can do in order to manipulate the HTML there. And then we've also got adding and deleting elements. These are, the create element, the remove child, append a child, replace child. These are kind of the example methods it had for the description of this week's lesson. And so, being able to add a new element, remove an element, append a child lets you add an HTML element. So, say for example, you have a list, and you can append a new list item to that ordered or unordered list. Document.write just allows you to add text into the output stream. So here's a really simple example of that. In an HTML document, it's got this really super simple script. It's just document.write, and then it uses this little date method in there, and it just puts the date on the screen right there. So whatever the current date is, there it is. So pretty simple. Questions at all so far? Super simple stuff. Okay.
No, you're doing good.
Okay, cool. And then finally, we've got these little event handlers, and there was a really long list of them oh wait, no, I'm not that far yet. Hold on. Sorry. Event handlers. Okay. So this allows you to create an event on your page. This one uses onClick, and this event will trigger. So you can use this get element by ID .onClick, and then it's going to execute this function, the code within it. So for an example here, I'm going to exit out of this presentation real quick. I've got it pulled up here. So right here, you've got the code on the left, and you've got this little simple CSS on the right, a little red box inside a yellow box, and the function just has this myMove method, and it starts the element right here in the upper left, and in the code, it executes every frame. It's going to move down and to the right by 1. So you click. Pretty simple there, and that's all it does. But this is just an example of being able to do a lot of other really cool things with your web pages with JavaScript, with an onClick event. So go ahead and move that back over here, back into the presentation. Okay. And then finally, we've got finding HTML elements, and the document dot, and then whatever you put after it is going to allow your JavaScript code to find that element in your document. There's a huge list over on W3 Schools here in this link. I only put 3 of them, but for example, document.anchors, document.body, document.forms, that's going to return those things that you put. But earlier we had document.getElement by ID, and you put the ID in there and it's going to find that element for you. So this is just a good way of finding elements, and then being able to use those in your code. Anyway, that was it, you guys. So thanks so much for watching this very simple presentation. If you have any other questions or you want more information, just go to the links I have in this presentation. I'll have this posted on Google Hangouts, so that you can find more info about that if you want. Any other questions?
Can you just remind me again what DOM stands for? I forgot.
Yeah, so Document Object Model. And what that's basically saying is there's this, when you load a page, this is kind of an example of it. It's a little bigger. But you have this little tree of objects here, and the document object model just basically allows you to use the DOM code snippets that we went over to be able to manipulate different parts of the HTML on your page. So you can use, the body, head, title, or the ID or class of certain elements to manipulate them and make them do things within your JavaScript there. So this is I felt like this was a really good resource, this page on W3 Schools. It goes through a ton of different examples of what like simple examples, but it's a good overview of what you can kind of do with that, with the DOM, document object model. So anyway, any other questions, guys? All right, cool. Well, thanks so much.
Thanks for explaining that. That little diagram helped a lot, actually.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop the recording.
I have 2 questions, not related to your presentation, though.
Oh, yeah.
First is, I think maybe I need to email the professor with a link to our Hangouts meeting, so that because he said he wants to join meetings, but we never let him know. We never give him an invite to the Zoom meeting yet.
Oh, okay.
So maybe if we invite him to our Hangouts chat, then he'll know when it's at, and then he can have a link if he wants to join it.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Okay, so I'll email him that probably today. Then my other question is, maybe after we have the presentations, like if you guys are working on your websites and like you can't get, if you're not getting above basic on something and you have questions, like I'm fine after the presentations if you have questions and you could just answer them if you want to show us your website or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. That would help me out a lot. So I haven't even uploaded documentation yet for this week or the week before. I need to do that. But that's good. Thank you.
Yeah,